to get your fix. Are you ready? Fix. Are you ready? Are you ready to get your fix? Are you ready? Are you ready to get your fix? Are you ready? Are you ready to get your fix? Are you ready to get your fix? With the Wicks here on this beautiful Thursday, April 14th, 2022, and welcome to the show, whether that be on Facebook or on YouTube. If you're on Facebook, hit the like or the share. If you're on YouTube, hit the subscribe. It would be much appreciated. So yesterday we, got to talk about Deebo Samuel and his whole situation, liking an Instagram post that, said, hey, if it ain't 25 million, we don't want it. We also dived into the 8 head coaches that were named for this, or for the next season's XFL, re-bringing this back into existence, basically, because COVID kind of took a shot at it. They had the season get shortened 2 years ago, and we haven't had it since, but it'll be back with new management, new ownership, with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. We have the 8 coaches there. The Raiders ended up extending Derek Carr for 3 more years, $121.5 million. We're going to talk about more of the details on that contract, the fully guaranteed portion, how much he actually gets on the backside of it. Is it a team-friendly deal? Kind of looks that way. But other than that, today, we got 21 draft prospects that have been named to be selected, or how did they word this? Basically, the 21 players that are going to be attending this year's draft 2 weeks from today in Las Vegas. So I'm pumped up for that. And we have some other interesting signings around the league. The Arizona Cardinals re-signing A.J. Green. What does that mean for Kyler Murray? Is he going to get his money? We'll find out. So we have all this to dive into. Not too much to talk about, but a decent amount. So are you ready to get your fix? So obviously Derek Carr and the Las Vegas Raiders agreed on a 3-year contract extension worth $121.5 million. Right? $40 million a year, that's what it kind of looked like. Well, it's not really what it all seems to be. So if you remember, just a couple years ago, or actually, it's been quite some time, probably like 5-6 years from now, actually, the Raiders decided to make a pretty bold move in trading Khalil Mack to the Chicago Bears. A massive part of that defensive front was a stud, still is a stud. Okay, he started to kind of go back down the mountain, if you will, just a little bit with production-wise, but I think he'll find a way back up there because he's a Los Angeles Charger. But because they let go of Khalil Mack, or because the Raiders ended up getting rid of Khalil Mack, Derek Carr said, no, next time I do a deal, it's going to be a little more team-friendly. Because when he left, man, I was heartbroken. Like, that sucked. I want to be able to keep as many people on this team as possible, because I think he, like myself and others know, chemistry is a massive, massive thing when it comes to trying to win ball games in the National Football League. If you don't have chemistry, it'll work. It can work out. It can obviously work out, but it's a lot harder than when you have, 11 guys on the same page at the same time, or 22 guys, 11 on offense, 11 on defense. If your whole team's on the same page, things go a lot more smoothly. So Derek Carr says, look, we'll get a deal done. I know I should stay a Raider for the rest of my career. This is where I want to play. This is where I want to be. So let's sign a deal, but it's going to be team friendly. I want to be able to sign all these massive superstars like a Devontae Adams, right? $141 million. Like a Chandler Jones, $120 million or something like that. Like a Max Crosby, who got an extension, $98 million. Okay? these massive pieces that the Raiders have been able to lock up might have been somewhat due to the fact that Derek Carr was willing to take a team-friendly deal, and that's exactly what he did. $121.5 million sounds like a lot, but it really isn't. So, more details on this contract come at that, he gets $25 million fully guaranteed out of 121.5. Okay? So what that means, it's just a slight, it doesn't take that massive or that big of a hit on the cap space. He has another $40.4 million guaranteed for injury only. So if he goes on the football field, he gets hurt, shabang, $40.4 million right in his pocket, just like that. Only for injury. However, all of that $40 million, will convert to fully guaranteed 3 days after next year's Super Bowl. So basically this entire season, he takes a massive, sort of kind of like a pay cut, if you will. It helps the Raiders being able to sign these draft picks and sign these superstars and for longer term deals so that Derek Carr can kind of stretch his money out as we throughout the years basically. So $121.5 million, only 25 of that is guaranteed. He does have 40.4 fully guaranteed if he gets hurt. He has a no trade clause. It's a massive team-friendly deal. I'm sure the Raiders and Derek Carr are pretty pumped up about this one. I know I would be, especially if I'm Khalil Mack looking back or looking at this situation, thinking about what could have been. I'd be like, hey, he did the right thing. Kudos to him. He's a good guy. He knows what he's like. He knows what he's worth, and he knows what the team's worth. And the team's only worth as much as their success is, and they haven't had much of that of late. But that's what he's hoping to get to is with taking a team-friendly deal, in my opinion. I feel like that's what he kind of did. In other news, Sammy Watkins was on a visit to the Green Bay Packers today. And, well, let's just say the visit went exceptionally well because about a couple hours since he was there, he sat down with good old Mark Murphy and Matt LaFleur and what's his name, Brian Gutekunst, and said, "Where's the contract? Where do I sign? Huh? Where's you got a pen? Perfect. All right, here we go. I'm a Green Bay Packer." Sammy Watkins signs with the Green Bay Packers literally after having a visit for probably an hour or two. It didn't seem like it was that long before they actually got a deal done, which made you kind of think, was this in the works a couple days before? How is this all working out? Well, apparently, Rodgers, as reported on the Pat McAfee show, talked with Sammy Watkins last night and kind of got to know him a little bit. Not a whole lot, obviously. It's not like it's a fucking phone call. How much can you know about a guy? You just talk to him, and he basically said, "I'm excited to get to work with Sammy. I think this is going to be awesome going forward, and I can't wait to see what we bring to the city of Green Bay," basically. So Sammy Watkins gets locked up. It's only a 1-year deal, which is massive, I think, for Green Bay because, obviously they lost Devontae Adams. They lost Marquez Valdes-Scantling, so they were stuck with Randall Cobb, Allen Lazard, Amari Rodgers. There's another guy out there. So they really didn't have that, legit number one guy. Like, who would it be? Is it going to have to be Cobb because of the chemistry him and Rodgers has? Is it going to be Lazard, where he kind of takes a similar path to what Devontae Adams did with the Green Bay Packers? Is it Amari Rodgers, who was basically a return specialist last year, but he seems good on tape. Maybe he gets an opportunity. None of those guys seemed like it was a for sure thing. So right off the bat, that kind of tells you, they're probably number 2 receivers. We got to find a number 1. Who's going to be our number 1 guy? Now, does Sammy Watkins fit that role? Yes, but no. When he came into the NFL from the Clemson Tigers, right off the bat, he was the guy, right? He was the one. He was the number 1 receiver on the team. He was ready to rock and roll. He was doing good things. And then all of a sudden he started, really just wasn't adding or meeting expectations. He was okay, but wasn't the greatest, show on turf like the Rams were once, way back in the day. But I think this is huge for the Green Bay Packers because now you have a solid couple veteran receivers in your receiver room, right? Randall Cobb, been in the league for eternity. Alan Lazard's been with the Green Bay Packers for at least 3 years off the top of my head, maybe 4 years potentially. And now you bring in Sammy Watkins, who's been in multiple organizations for multiple seasons. He's been, consistent. He gets the job done. He's not going to excel by any means, but he's going to get the job done, just like he did with the the Ravens last season. But he comes over to Green Bay on a 1-year deal, and this is worth up to $4 million for Sammy Watkins. And right off the bat, I like it. I hit up Y4 or John, guest host on Fantasy Football Fridays and other days as well, whenever he has availability or is available to do so. Hit him up and was like, hey, Sammy Watkins got signed to the Green Bay Packers. He says, I like it. And that's good news coming out of a Green Bay Packer fan's mouth, because I like it too. Right off the bat, it's like, oh, maybe this gives Sammy Watkins a chance to kind of like rejuvenate his career, especially with a quarterback like Aaron Rodgers back there, who's shown multiple times, hey, I can make a receiver phenomenal. I'm going to put the ball in the right place. I'm not going to throw interceptions to make them look like they ran the wrong route. I'm going to let them know if they ran the wrong route. I'm, get that whole fucking, let's do that shit right. Come on, let's go. And with Aaron Rodgers back there, I think he's going to be able to really help Sammy kind of excel. Not too much, but I think he's going to do more than we expect him to do with that Green Bay Packers organization. He's fast, he's tall, he's athletic, he goes up and gets the ball. I mean, like I said, he gets the job done, and that's what Green Bay needs. That doesn't mean they're not going to take a wide receiver in the draft. They got 2 first-round picks. I believe they have the 22nd overall pick and the 28th overall pick in this year's first round, or maybe they trade up to grab a wide receiver as well, get one more weapon to kind of bring into the building, because maybe they don't trust Lazard. Maybe they don't trust Amari Rodgers quite yet. Maybe they roll with those Sammy Watkins, Randall Cobb, and then Drake London would be a phenomenal fit there. Or Chris Olave, Garrett Wilson. There's another guy, and maybe a different guy. Like, there's plenty of options at the wide receiver position. And John, right off, he wants a weapon. He wants the Green Bay Packers to get a weapon for them, because I think that's where they lack the most is the amount of weapons that they have. They got a lot of them, but not a lot of great ones. Like, you need a 1-2 punch, basically. Their running backs are just fine. Aaron Jones, A.J. Dillon, those two are freaks. Wide receiver-wise, Sammy helps, but I think when you're looking to build your team and look at it down the future, down the road, what do you want it to look like? What do you want to be in place so that you don't have to worry about it? And I think it's definitely the wide receiver position. Or, potentially, the tight end position, even though Robert Tunyon's still over there. You got to get these weapons. But, hey, I like this signing. It's a massive signing by the Green Bay Packers and getting Sammy Watkins, a veteran, reliable receiver. At Tom Pelissero goes out and says the Packers traded superstar wide receiver Devontae Adams and lost speedster Marquez Valdes-Scantling in free agency. Signing veteran Sammy Watkins to a 1-year deal worth up to $4 million is a low-risk addition, and likely just the first of several moves to fill that void. Notice how he says several moves. It's the first of several moves to fill that void. We could potentially see the Green Bay Packers start, like I said, instantly trade up in the draft, grab a high-caliber receiver coming out of this year's draft. Or Jarvis fucking Landry, Odell Beckham Jr., Julio Jones. I mean, we got a list of wide receivers in the free agency market. T.Y. Hilton, don't think they would do that necessarily, but we got a list that they go select from, and if this is the first of several moves, man, I would love to see what's going to happen for the Green Bay Packers, because, hey, they got to put up with the Minnesota Vikings. Okay, because it seems as if we're the new kings of the north once Devontae Adams started to leave. Now, I won't get that far. because Aaron Rodgers is still Aaron Rodgers, but I think this is going to be a true test to Matt LaFleur and hey, can you really win without a superstar wide receiver? We'll find out in the next couple months, but the draft's only 14 days away. I'm pumped for it. But other signings around the league today, not too big of signings, but some decent signings. The Seattle Seahawks end up signing quarterback Geno Smith to a 1-year, $7 million contract. He gets a chance for some starting reps, which is interesting because does that mean that they're not going to go get a quarterback in the draft? Does that mean they're not going to go get a quarterback in the free agency market or trade for a quarterback? Or are they actually going to stick with Geno Smith and Drew Lock? Because that puzzles me. If they do decide to stay with those two, Seattle, rest in peace to your season, fellas. Sorry about it. Look, Drew Lock, not a starter. Okay, he's backup if at best. Okay, Teddy Bridgewater took the starting role from him in Denver. Okay, Drew Lock never seen the field. Now, it's not saying that Drew Lock can't, up his game a little bit and become that starter. I mean, that's definitely a possibility, but kind of a long shot if you ask me. Drew Lock to me is a good backup. He's a guy that's he can come in there for a drive, two drive, maybe finish off the last quarter, whatever the case may be. That is what he might be good at, might excel at, those quick little bursts. Hey, bam, 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 I got all this energy, let's do this, okay? He's not a full game starter in the National Football League. Because he's not better than Baker Mayfield. Hey, Baker Mayfield is way better than Drew Lock. Now, who knows, right? Obviously, things can change. Maybe Baker ends up Seattle. Or maybe the signing of Geno Smith is basically saying, hey, we'll start training camp with 3 different quarterbacks. We're probably going to draft one. This is why we signed Geno. We got Geno and Drew Lock. We'll draft a quarterback. We got 3. We'll go into the season with only 2 on our roster. Have the third one be our practice squad guy. All said and done, we're fine and dandy. But it might be a little puzzling. Because Geno Smith, too, backup. Okay, he had his chance in New York with the New York Jets and just didn't work out. We've seen exactly what he was and what he was capable of and what he wasn't capable of, and he's a backup quarterback. Now, like Drew Lock, doesn't mean that he can't become the guy, but I just don't see that, potentially happening. So, I think last year Geno actually got to play a little bit, and he looked pretty impressive. Not too bad, not too great, but backup mentality, like a solid backup. Like he has that energy still. He's not tired. He can go when he's called in the game. He's gonna make the right decisions at the right times instead of playing a whole game and you just get frazzled and you have to make split-second decisions and it's just like, oh, fuck, what are we doing? So Seattle locks up a quarterback. Now, does that mean they're going to go get one in the draft? Are they going to look at free agency or are they just going to stick with it? Who knows? We'll find out in 14 days, I'm assuming, because DK Metcalf could be on the move. Maybe Tyler Lockett could be on the move. Multiple pieces from that organization could be on the move, and we'll never know until about probably the day before, a couple days before draft night, or maybe draft night as well. Another signing, which is an interesting one because it kind of brings up a question of what the hell are they going to do? Well, the Arizona Cardinals have re-signed wide receiver A.J. Green to a 1-year deal. The details of that contract have not officially came out. I'm sure it's like a $5 million deal, $4 million deal, something kind of cheap to keep him in the organization one more year, give him that, see what his year 2 in the same system, in the same playbook kind of does for him. See if he can earn a 2-year, 3-year contract. He is getting up there, I believe, in age. I think he might be. He might have a couple more years left in the NFL for sure, but production just hasn't been there lately. But I think when he plays that number 2 role behind a DeAndre Hopkins, he's going to be just fine. So they lock him up to a 1-year deal. Well, the Cardinals, they have yet to make a contract offer to Kyler Murray. So when are they going to pay him his money? Because he's been asking for it. He said, look, I better get paid before the draft, otherwise I ain't playing. And since then, it's been kind of a really weird relationship. Like, what is actually going to happen? Because he refollowed the Arizona Cardinals on his Instagram, reposted all of his pictures that he said, delete it. I don't know how that all works out. I think you probably just have a hide button or something. I don't know. Or maybe just somebody's just really good at photoshopping and saying, hey, this would be a good story. Put it out there. But he wants his money. Okay? And per @Tom Pelissero goes on Twitter and says, they have not made a contract offer to Pro Bowl quarterback Kyler Murray, whose agent Eric Burkhart, who is the same agent for Cliff Kingsbury as well, informed the team weeks ago that we're pulling our opening proposal off the fucking table. So you figure it out. Maybe we'll sign it. We'll tell you yes or no. You give us a contract extension, and we'll tell you if we like it or we don't like it, and we'll send it back. Other teams are apparently monitoring closely, but Arizona insists that Murray won't be traded. I'd hope not. It took them quite a while to find one. I mean, they tried. I mean, Carson Palmer went there towards the end of his career. Not great. Not bad. Not great. Okay, I mean, no playoffs. I mean, yeah, you had Larry Fitzgerald, but let's be honest. Okay, as consistent as he was, has more tackles in the NFL than he does have drops. He's starting to decline. It's just very apparent, right? I think it was right there in stone. Carson Palmer just wasn't cutting it either. And they go out and they draft this guy called Josh Rosen, right? Oof. See how that happened or how that went. Not too great. And then they find a way to land Kyler Murray. Short guy, little guy, about my size, so I'm a little guy. Okay? Gets drafted number 1 overall in the Major League Baseball. Says, nah, more money to be made in the National Football League. Sorry about it. I'm gonna go play for the Cardinals. Okay? See you guys later. But now it might seem as if he's probably regretting that. He's like, fuck, should have just went to baseball. But baseball, they lock you up for your first 6 years. You're locked under contract. Can't ask for a trade. Can't do shit. You're in the minor leagues. You have to try to work your way up the pole. It's just like, what the fuck are we doing here? Let's sign a 1-year, 2-year contract. Let's figure this out. Let's move it and moving and grooving. Because you know right off the bat if I'm going to be good or not. And he was good. But enough on baseball. He wants his money. Okay? But at the same time, this is what Kyler Murray said. He recently said this. He said, I'm not really too worried about my future as a Cardinal. But with 2 weeks until the draft, there is no negotiations and other teams are watching, a situation to monitor. That last little part he didn't say. But he says, I'm not too worried about my future as an Arizona Cardinal. Like, if there's a possible way to get a deal done, we'll get a deal done. If we don't, see you later. Like, it's just that simple. It's a business. If you don't want me, if you don't respect me enough to give me the money I believe I am worth, then deuces, folks, basically is what he's saying. But if there's a chance that the Arizona Cardinals give me a contract that I'm willing to sign, they respect how much I deserve, and they gave me the right number, go Cardinals, right? Go Sea of Red, or whatever you want to call it. So he wants his money, and rightfully so, right? Because we had Aaron Rodgers sign a massive contract. We had Deshaun Watson sign a fully guaranteed $230 million contract. Matthew Stafford signed a massive contract just a year ago with the Rams. And now Derek Carr just gets locked up $121.5 million. They've signed contract extensions, all those quarterbacks, worth $40 million or more in the past month. As the market continues to just basically rise. These quarterbacks are getting their money, and they're getting it now, folks. Like, Russell Wilson probably will get paid. Joey Burrow is probably going to get paid. Lamar Jackson still needs to get paid. I mean, multiple quarterbacks from the National Football League are waiting for a cha-ching, massive payday out of the NFL. And Murray is due about $5.5 million in 2022. And it'd be a surprise if he plays on that deal per @Tom Pelissero. He says, yeah, he most likely ain't going to play off $5.5 million this next season. It's just, probably not going to happen. I think Arizona's going to wait until maybe after the draft to get their rookies signed and see what we need to do, even though that happens during training camp. But I'm sure they'll figure it out. I mean, it's Kyler fucking Murray. He's proven that he's a good quarterback in this league. Is he a winning quarterback? I'd say so. I mean, last season was very apparent. Why wouldn't you pay this motherfucker his money? Like, give him his goddamn money instead of extending your head coach who doesn't really, hasn't done anything, okay? And his GM, I mean, let's sign the franchise piece first. Let's get Kyler Murray out of the way. We got DeAndre Hopkins and A.J. Green. Who knows what's going to happen, but just know that Kyler Murray still wants to get paid, wants it done before the draft, and if it isn't done, and if it isn't the right deal that he wants, probably won't be an Arizona Cardinal this upcoming season, and probably won't play on that $5.5 million contract as well. But it'll be an interesting situation to kind of monitor. Maybe he gets traded on draft nights to a team that really needs one. Maybe he goes to Seattle. Doubt that's the case. Maybe he goes to Carolina. That'd be interesting. Pittsburgh. I mean, that'd be interesting as well. So there's multiple, options out there for Kyler Murray to potentially be the new quarterback somewhere else. Or, like I just mentioned, Cardinals just got to give him the deal he wants, okay? Not too outrageous, but something, pretty hefty, basically, so he gets a massive payday. Last but not least, the 21 players that will be attending this year's draft in Las Vegas has been officially announced. Now, it's kind of weird to me, only 21. Like, can we just, do, 50? Like, the top 50 prospects, bam, come to Vegas, be at the draft, just because who knows if any of those 21 draft picks are going to go in the first round. Who knows if those 21 people, right, I guess I kind of just said that. Who knows? What about the other 11 teams? Or the 11 picks? It doesn't quite make any sense to me. Why you wouldn't make sure that all 32 teams in the first round have a draft prospect there in the building. You'd think that'd make the most sense. Let's get 50 prospects in here, sit them down, because 32 of these guys will most likely walk on the stage. But whatever, what do I know? I'm not a genius, apparently. So the 21 players attending this year's draft in Las Vegas, which is 2 weeks from tonight, April 28th. I'm pumped for it. I cannot wait. But these are the 21. We got Ahmad Sauce Gardner from Cincinnati, cornerback. Aiden Hutchinson from Michigan, he's a defensive end. Charles Cross from Mississippi State, offensive line. Chris Olave, Ohio State, wide receiver. Devin Lloyd from Utah. Devontae Wyatt from Georgia. Evan Neal from Alabama. Garrett Wilson from Ohio State. George Karlaftis from Purdue. Akeem Ekwonu from NC State. Jermaine Johnson II from Florida State. Jordan Davis from Georgia. Kayvon Thibodeau from Oregon. Kyle Hamilton from Notre Dame. Malik Willis. Kyler Gordon. Nakobe Dean. Zion Johnson. Jamison Williams. Drake London. And last but not least, quarterback for the Ole Miss Rebels, Matt Corral. So those are the 21. A lot of wide receivers, corners, offensive line, defensive line, maybe the top 21 prospects basically that are most likely going to get drafted in the first round. They have officially been announced. With that being said, that is all I have for you guys today. Thank you so much for tuning in, whether that's on Facebook or on YouTube. Hit the like and the share if you're on Facebook, or you can hit the like and also hit the subscribe if you're on YouTube. It would be much appreciated. Have a great rest of your day. I know it's windy as shit, so stay safe out there. I'm watching videos of semis getting fucking toppled over by this wind. It's gnarly out there, folks. We got hit with massive solar fucking whatever you call it from the sun or whatever. It's probably just fucking with the earth a little bit, but be safe out there. Enjoy the rest of your night. Watch the Wild play the Dallas Stars. They're hopefully gonna get a dub. Okay, hey, shout out to the Wolves, by the way. I forgot to do that yesterday. Shout out to the Wolves for making this year's playoffs. I'm pumped for it. I cannot wait to watch it. That was an electrifying moment for the Wolves and for for the state of Minnesota. So have a great rest of your night. We'll be back here tomorrow at 6 p.m. Central Time, like always, hopefully with our guest host, Y4. So until then, enjoy your night, enjoy the day, and you just got your fix with the Wicks. Deuces, folks.